and welcome to another video on the channel, and today it is time for the latest installment of the Nottingham Forest transfer rumour roundup. Yes, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry it's towards the end of the week this week. I just thought it'd make sense with no Euros games towards the end of this week to do the transfer video at the end of this week. So yeah, that's my whole reasoning behind, putting it at the end of the week instead of at the start of the week. When obviously the Euros, slows down a little bit, I'll put them like towards the start of the week because that's when I prefer to have them. But yeah, if they're not the start of the week, then we'll normally be towards the end of the week when obviously the Euros is on, etc, etc. So yeah, that is why it is out on a Thursday or a Friday. I'm not too sure when I am going to post this right now, but yeah, that is why it is out today and not the start of the week. But yeah, I'm going to waste no more of your time and we're going to get straight into it. So we are starting things with an actual confirmed signing. Eric da Silva Moria I think is how you say the last part of his name. He is signed from St. Pauli the second in Germany. He's 18 years old who can play out wide on either wings or a right back. He said in his interview, for, the first 16 years of his life he's been played as a winger, but recently he's been moved to more as a fullback. So he's someone that could probably play in, both areas. Not too sure if he will be sort of as the first team squad, or if he'll be put into, the youth development and into the under-23s and all that. I'm not too sure. I mean, over the course of last season, he made 14 appearances, scored 4 and assisted 1, which is not too bad at all, if I do say so myself. Also, at just 18, he has won, the under-17s Euros and the under-17s World Cup, which is, very, very good. Granted, it's the under-17s level, but still, to have those two, accolades at just 18, that is very, very good. But yeah, not too sure what his role is going to be. As I said, will he be involved in the first team squad or will he be in the under-23s? We'll have to wait and see what happens there. I mean, we do have Nico Williams at right back. Montiel's loan has ended and has gone back, and I don't think we're going to sign him. I do think we'll be looking at another right back, though, as competition for Nico Williams, unless Nuno plans for him to, be with Nico Williams as, the potential starting right back. We'll have to wait and see. He has said that he does like quite a small squad, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is involved in the first team. On to the confirms in terms of the outgoing. Remo Freuler joins Bologna. He made his loan permanent. He spent all of last season out on loan there, and he's done quite well. I think Italy is, the fair pace, for the sort of player that he is. Playing out in the Euros for Switzerland, he's been doing reasonably well there. I just think, the standard, the pace and the style of play just suits him better. The fee's around 5 million quid. Helps, with, all FFP and all that, PSR, etc, etc. It helps with that as well. So yeah, wish him the best of luck. Shame it didn't work out, because I do think he's a good player. But yeah, we'll take the 5 million quid, thank you. Now looking at the rumoured incoming, starting things off with Jordan James. He's currently a 19-year-old central midfielder that is playing out at Birmingham. Yes, so we are linked with him, which did, when I first saw the name, did sort of surprise me. I did a little bit of digging, and, despite Birmingham getting relegated in what was a pretty torrid season for them, he has done, quite well. 47 appearances, 8 goals for one of the worst sides in the Championship, one of Birmingham's worst seasons in recent history. I don't think that is, that is too bad. He's got 1 year left on his contract. They're in League One. He's valued about 4.5 million quid. I think a £5 million bid, with maybe a couple of add-ons, I think Birmingham would be inclined to accept, because 5 million quid is, a lot more in League One compared to maybe the Championship. As much as, Birmingham, it's, reported that they're not sure in terms of, League One budget-wise. Apparently £20 million spending money. I do think they will be willing to accept 5 million quid for who was one of their best players last season. And I think, we're looking to, sort of revamp the team with a lot more youthful players. I think it could be a good signing. I don't think we should probably throw him in at the deep end, though, if we are to sign him. I think maybe gradually ease him into, the first team squad, because I doubt we'll use him as an under-23s. If we're going to actually spend the 5 million quid on him, maybe even more, I do think, he would be a very good signing, especially if we, ease him in, progressively, start him on the bench, gradually, evolve him into, the starting 11. He's also been capped 11 times for Wales, which, again, at 19 is, I keep saying, it's actually doing my nut in here. I'm very sorry. Someone picked up on it in the last video. I don't realise I'm doing it. I'm very sorry. But, as I was saying, he's been he's been capped 11 times for Wales at just 19. That is very, very good at just 19. I think he could be a very, very good signing. The next player is Lamar Bord. I definitely butchered his surname. Very, very sorry. Pronouncing names is not my strong suit. However, he's another younger player, slightly less experienced than Jordan Jones, as I just mentioned. He's a 21-year-old who can play centre mid, CDM, centre back. So he's more of a deeper lying centre mid compared to Jordan Jones, who's a bit more offensive. He was out on loan for the first half of the season at Bristol Rovers. Over the course of all of last season, including, his loan spell at Bristol Rovers and, playing in the Premier League 2, he made 27 appearances, bagging 3 assists. Granted, 2 of those were against Whitby in the FA Cup, but still, I do think if we are to sign him, he will be, an under-23s player. He will, he'll be in the youth setup. I don't think we would have him in the first team unless it's for a cup game or something like that. I just think compared to the calibre of midfielders we've currently got, I don't think someone who's had 6 months at League One is going to be thrown straight in there. I mean, he's valued about 490k, just under $500,000. I'll be very, very shocked if he is heavily involved in the first team squad. Don't get me wrong, say we loan him out to a League One Championship club, then maybe for the future, I don't see an issue with that signing. But for I think a starting player, I do think he would be a very risky signing. But obviously, for the future, in the under-23s going out on loan, that would not be a bad bit of business for the future. However, based on right now, we probably want to get 1 or 2, starting 11 players in. So, overall, I don't think it'd be terrible signing, especially if we can get him under £1 million. You can't say no to that amount of potential at that sort of price tag. The final rumoured incoming is a bit of a wild one, a bit of an unexpected one. Miguel Antonio. Now, West Ham, they've changed the manager. Moyes has gone. Lopetegui's come in. He's probably going to want to offload a couple players. Now, obviously, there was talk with Taiwo potentially going to West Ham. So this could maybe be part of the deal if, if Lopetegui wants to try and pull that one off for West Ham. He has played at the club before. He left in 2016 to join West Ham. He's now 34, incredibly injury prone. He's guaranteed almost one pretty big injury a season, especially with his reoccurring knee injuries. I just think it will be quite a risk to offload Taiwo, who does get injured, quite a bit, guaranteed at least 1 a season, to then bring in someone who's arguably more injury prone and arguably worse at this point in his career. So I think if we are going to bring in a new striker, I think they have to be, a younger, more youthful striker that brings something different to what Taiwo does, whereas Antonio, I think, does bring something very similar sort of dimension to what Taiwo, Awoniyi and Chris would bring. So I just don't think the signing would make sense. It makes sense from a West Ham perspective to maybe try and, sway us in bringing in Awoniyi, maybe, put Antonio in plus 10-15 million quid, then it would make sense from a West Ham perspective. Listen, he bagged 7 goals. He's still an able Premier League striker, but it just would not make sense for us. I'm sure he would, he would bag a handful of goals for us, but it does seem like a step down from Taiwo or Chris Wood, especially at this stage of his career. 34. He's probably, if he doesn't leave this summer, he'll leave next summer because his contract's up. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense to bring in someone who is older and more injury prone than an already slightly injury prone Awoniyi. Now looking at the rumoured outgoings, starting off with one that I wasn't really expecting. Moussa Niakhate. It looks like a bid of around 20 million quid has been accepted. Personal terms have been going on at the time of recording on Thursday with Moussa Niakhate and LYON. LYON are massively helping us out with, financial fair play and that. It looks like Mangala could, his loan could be turned permanent as well. We could be getting around 20 million quid for him and another 20 million quid for Niakhate. Now, Niakhate has been a little bit injury prone, particularly in his first season at the club. And listen, I think 20 million quid, we can't turn that down. The only risk is, 1, he is quite a good player, and 2, we're then going to have to sort of almost rebuild the defence, find a new centre-half partnership, because it's almost inevitable that Murillo's going to go, and then Niakhate as well. Granted, it's a fair bit of money, which you can't really say no to. However, it's going to take a little while to, build sort of a defensive, unity and a defensive, cohesion. Listen, 24 appearances last season, 1 goal. He was a useful player, wasn't used as much under Nuno as compared to Cooper, but for 20 million quid you can't really turn that down, especially with the slight financial issues that we do have. And yeah, I wish him the best of luck. It's a shame that he couldn't have maybe played a bit more with his injuries, etc. And he was a good player, what a very useful one at that too, particularly in the first season. But 20 million quid is 20 million quid, and it will be a very, very helpful deal for us. Finally, I'm going to talk about the Murillo saga. It does continue, and Chelsea have been looking at him. I think they've been asking about maybe a potential price. We still value him at 70 million quid. Chelsea, I think we're thinking more 50 million. Listen, if they put a bid of 50 to 60 million, we're going to be stupid to say no. You know, as much as we're looking to bring in 40 million from Niakhate and Mangala, listen, it's still a lot of money. You could get one or two top Premier League players and still have a bit left over for 60 million quid. So it would be bonkers to turn that down, to hold that for 70. I think push towards the more high 50s, you know, to 60. I think 60 million, just accept that. 60 to 70 million, absolutely fair. You know, it's, you know, a fair price tag of what Murillo is worth to us. Personally, if I was him, I wouldn't go to Chelsea. It just seems like a terrible idea. Very few players at the moment seem to prosper there. It doesn't make sense when you've got, you know, the likes of Real Madrid interested in you. You know, it doesn't really make sense, quite frankly. Like, out of all the clubs interested, Chelsea. But listen, if Chelsea are the only one coughing up the cash, then from a club perspective, you can't really say no. So yeah, I think push towards that £60 million mark, and if they offer it, they offer it. You know, you can't really, you know, complain at that much for one player. But thank you for watching this transfer video. Sorry it's towards the end of the week, as I said with the Euros. It just made more sense to do it at the end of this week. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to slap a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, follow me on TikTok, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.